I'm Chasing the Cyclone author, Peter Thomas Senese, and I would like to talk with you about what to do if an international parental child abduction is in progress. The first thing that you need to know is to never give up hope that you will find your child or children, no matter how long and how difficult the road that you need to journey on is. Immediately contact your local police and share with them all the details that support your belief that your child's abduction is imminent and in progress. Do not wait to file your police report. Make sure you have as much evidence to support your claim as possible. Make sure that you file a missing child report immediately. This report is important as it allows the police to place a description of the child who is missing on the FBI's National Crime Information Center database, that's the NCIC, so that all police forces in the United States will know that your child is missing. The police should notify border crossing and all ferry, rail, and airport facilities. Urgently, in the United States, immediately contact the United States Department of State, Office of Children's Issues. In Canada, contact the Justice Legal Services branch in Ottawa. In addition, in the United States, immediately contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And in Canada, contact the Missing Children Society of Canada. Seek an emergency hearing before the court of jurisdiction. Laws in many states give judges authority to issue a pickup order for the child to prevent an immediate abduction or harm to the child. The Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act, in effect in most states, provides an emergency ex parte proceeding for getting a law enforcement directed pickup order in conjunction with a custody enforcement order when abductions or serious physical harm to a child is imminent. If the requirements are met, a judge should issue an order directing law enforcement to pick up the child and to serve notice of the custody enforcement proceedings. When possible, you and/or someone you trust should stay in close physical proximity of the child if you believe that any abduction is imminent. Consider hiring a seasoned private investigator to monitor the movements of your spouse and your child. Contact neighbors, friends, spouses, siblings, anyone who may know where your child may be. Have friends and relatives conduct a basic land search of the neighborhood area while you are making a police report. Provide the police with the information in an already prepared identification kit. This kit should include updated clear photographs, foot and fingerprints if possible, birth certificate, medical history, passport or a copy of the passport, dental records, x-rays, your child's name, obviously any descriptions, including locations of scars, birthmarks, and any other identifiable data. Conduct a complete physical search of your area. Organize a search party of friends and relatives to search areas such as a child's route home from school, community center, friends' houses, favorite hangouts, wherever you think your child might be or had spent time. You have to go and you need to investigate it. Remember, leave someone at home at all times to answer the telephone in case your child calls. And continue to keep that telephone line free. That telephone is your child's way of communicating with you. Continue your search, even if you don't have immediate results. Follow up for updates on the case by contacting the investigating police officers and provincial searching agencies who are registered to look for your child. Solicit media support such as the radio, television, local newspaper publications only at the advice of the police and searching agencies involved with your case. Be mindful that once your spouse has illegally taken your child and is on the run, they essentially will act like a fugitive, and in many cases, they are due to arrest warrants issued by the local court. Typically, a person running from law enforcement is willing to take risks that they might otherwise not be inclined to take under more normal circumstances. These risks can be very concerning and could potentially place the child or children, as well as the abducting parent, in grave and dangerous situations. So before you solicit help from the media, weigh out the options and advice of law enforcement, your lawyer, and your private investigators, if you have hired any. Distribute a photograph of the missing child or children, as well as that of your spouse or ex who has taken the child. Keep a detailed diary of people and agencies that you have contacted and steps you have already taken. Logging these events limits the duplication of efforts and allows a review of inquiries. Hire a local family lawyer with local and international child custody law and have your attorney appear before your local court immediately. Share with the court the details of your child's abduction and all other relevant information to allow the judge to understand the seriousness of the matter. It is critical that you are honest, open, and credible before the court. In simple terms, do not lie, do not fabricate anything, and do not give the court any reason to question your credibility. Tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. Request that the court grant you sole full custody and sole full guardianship of your child or children if you do not already have it. Also, request that the court direct your spouse to immediately return the child to the place of original jurisdiction. Also, request that the court issue a pickup order directing local police officers to assist you in finding and returning your child. If you know your child has been taken to another country, contact the United States Department of State, Office of Children's Issues immediately, and immediately file a Hague application for the wrongful international abduction and retention of your child or children. Make sure you monitor all of your bank accounts and remove all assets that are in joint tenancy into your sole name. If you are the primary holder of any assets and credit cards, immediately remove your spouse's name on every account. Immediately contact your credit card companies and put a security alert on all your credit cards. This will direct the credit card company to request that you show proper identification to the merchant during each time you use a credit card, or in the event of an electronic online transaction, a representative from the credit card company's security department will be required to contact you in order to authorize the transaction. Also, make sure you put 2 password questions and answers, not 1, but 2, on your bank and credit card account in order to prevent anyone else from having access to your money. Contact all credit reporting agencies and request that you are immediately notified of any credit inquiries, remarks, or additional accounts. Make sure that each agency issues a security alert directing each requesting credit company to seek additional verification information that any inquiries or applications made to their company were made about you. Monitor all cell phones of your spouse, and if possible, have all cell phone, emails, and any communication devices monitored. And if possible, do the same for her family or his family members. Check with your spouses, friends, family, and acquaintances and see if they were aware of any information that might lead you to locate your child. Typically, a person who is standoffish might have known of the abductor's plans or has already been influenced by that person and will be of little help to you. If that occurs, immediately report this to law enforcement investigating the abduction. If the police choose to interview that person and they lie to a law enforcement officer, they can be criminally charged with a crime. Check in your child or children's rooms for any hints or clues as to where they might have been taken to. Our children are really smart. They might be able to help, so look carefully. Check your ex-spouse or spouse's personal items for any clues as to where they might have taken your children. Not everyone is that good. There could be a mistake someplace. If your ex-spouse or spouse has family that is living in a foreign country, hire the services of a private investigator in that country to immediately follow your ex-spouse or spouse's parents and other family members in order to determine where the child has been taken and is located. This very well may be the best set of dollars that you will spend. Remember, any recovery actions cannot be taken until your child's location is known. In many international parental child abduction cases, the abducting parent chooses to go underground with the child and develops behavior similar to a fugitive on the run. Typically, they have a support network in place and the abduction has been carefully planned and enabled through the assistance of family members and friends. Finding and knowing where your child was taken is the most important action. Without knowing what country your child is in, you cannot file a Hague application, and you will be spinning your wheels endlessly trying to find out where your child is. One final note on this subject. According to the provisions of the Hague, there exists language that essentially enables a Hague judge overseeing the case to allow for a child to stay with the abducting parent if the abducting parent is able to provide to the court that returning the child to the country of origin would be detrimental to the child's best interests. One of the techniques commonly used in a Hague defense is to demonstrate that the child or children have adjusted and desire to live in the country that they were wrongfully and illegally taken to. In certain situations, a judge may believe that the child or children have settled into their new life and that the uprooting them would cause unwarranted harm and would not be in the child's best interest. So, it is critically important for all chasing parents to know where the child was taken to as soon as possible and immediately file for the child's return under the protections of the Hague Convention where applicable. Again, you need to monitor everything, and if you have the resources, your best lead in finding your child might be, in fact, to monitor the parents of the abducting former spouse or spouse. If your child is taken to another country, you need to really consult heavily with a lawyer in your local jurisdiction familiar with the Hague Convention, and make sure you hire a lawyer familiar with the rules of the Hague Convention in this jurisdiction you know your child was taken to, if that jurisdiction is a member of the convention. Become familiar with the laws and customs of the country that your child has been taken to. Knowing the environment or playing field that you're working in is going to be a critical issue. Consult with the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the governing agency who acts as the Hague signatory for your country. In the United States, it's the U.S. State Department, or anyone else who might have some familiarity or experience in the matters of international child abduction. It is really important to try to keep yourself physically active. You need to eat a healthy diet, and you need to rest on a regular basis. I know this is a hard thing to say, especially if you're out there right now trying to look for your child or children. But if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to fight the fight the way you need to. Remember, never give up hope that you will be reunited with your child. Hope will fuel you. In essence, do whatever you have to do in order to protect your child. But remember, your actions must not place your child in harm's way, and that's critical. So you have to be very thoughtful and very careful about exactly what you do. That is why it is important for you to consult the experts. But remember, you must know everything, including as much as possible on family law and the rules of international law with respect to the country that your child was taken. You have to allow and trust the Hague Convention on the civil aspects of international child abduction. The Hague courts do work. So if your child is in a Hague country, you have to trust that system. If your child is not in a Hague country, you need to really consult with the U.S. State Department, and you need to also find a lawyer in that country who is familiar with international law. If your child or children have been issued a passport and you have access to it, make sure you hold it and secure it in a safe place. If your child has not been issued a passport, then immediately contact the agency overseeing passport issuances and appraise them of the present situation. Typically, law enforcement or an officer from the State Department's Office of Children's Issues can help you with this. In the event that your child does not have a passport from the country they habitually lived in, and no passport has been requested or issued by your local government, they make sure that the law enforcement contact the local embassy of the country your spouse was originally from and inform them of the litigation taking place. One of the most important things that you can do in the early stages of an international child abduction is to establish friendly contact with the relatives and friends of the other parent, both in your country and abroad, if this is at all possible. The fastest and most effective way to resolve international parental child abductions is for the abducting parent to return the child voluntarily. While there may be good reason for you to believe that this approach won't work, it is important that an effort be made. Most of all, trust yourself and never stop looking for your child or children, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard that road is. Remember, the life that you were living prior to your child or children's abduction no longer exists. Be prepared for an onslaught of defamation coming from the other side's camp. Be prepared to spend as much money as you have. Be prepared to go on a journey that is unlike any journey that you've ever experienced. But do it. Your child's safety or your children's safety will rely on you.